When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you're in the championship rounds with King, of Essex. So let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode, I have a lot of compelling information to present to you. I have a very good reason to believe that the light flyweight division is going to be very interesting in the coming months. What brings us to that is we're going to recap last weekend's action. Evelin Nazarena Bermudez out of Argentina. She's got the IBF and the WBO super flyweight titles. No, I'm sorry, light flyweight titles, 108 pounds. And she won by ninth round stoppage over Jessica Bolsoto Salazar. Now, Salazar hadn't really faced any competition to level up Bermudez. They both have faced Yokasta Valle, what they had in common. So Bermudez with the stoppage. First thing I thought to myself, because 105 is dry. If Estrada doesn't do the right thing and give Valle the rematch, right? Estrada's got nothing going at 105. So you can take all the pictures in the fucking bathtub if you want, honey. It ain't going to do shit for the division nor for women's boxing. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm trying to help all of us. I'm trying to help you guys figure out how we're going to move this thing forward. So moving forward in the light flyweight division, all right, moving forward, Evelin Bermudez has got some options. The aforementioned rematch with Yokasta Valle. Remember, Valle handed Bermudez her only loss. She moved up to do that, won the titles, and then moved down because she wanted the Estrada fight. So it would make sense for Valle to move up again, challenge again. Bermudez might not be looking for that smoke, though, because there's a lot of smoke in that division. Let's get to it. And I'm going to start with one lesser name, and I'm going to just blow y'all out the water. Sarah Borman of Germany. Her only loss is to Jessica Nery Plata. It was a good win for Plata over Borman. Borman is the WBO light flyweight division title list, right? Or the IBO. I think she's got an IBO. What's Borman got? Yeah. No, yeah, Borman's got the IBO. She's got the IBO at 105, right? But she's got the WBF and the WIBF at light fly. So depending on how she feels, right? Sarah Borman, that is, she could go for a bout or vice versa. You know, Bermudez could look for a bout. Oh, I mentioned the name, right? Let's not skip too fast because I said I'm going to start with lesser names. Nery Plata, all right? That's for undisputed. All Mexican affair. Sounds good to me. Who doesn't want undisputed? All of the belts to come together in one division. However, Kim Clavel could have something to say about that, right? Kim Clavel, who got a very raw deal against Jessica Nery Plata. Everyone with two eyes thought Clavel won that fight. However, Nery Plata was given the decision and then went on to defeat Borman. So again, Borman's got some history in the division. It all depends on what Bermudez wants to do. But I'm telling you, with all the names I laid out, one thing is for sure. Bermudez is running out of time. She is completely running out of time because you open one door, it's Valle. All right. You open another door, it's Nery Plata. You open another door, it's Kim Clavel. So you have to do something, baby. Do something. Your time is ticking. All right. Or she gonna prove me and whomever else wrong that seems to believe that there are more aggressive fighters and challengers to the throne at light flyweight. All right. So again, I think there's lots of intrigue in that division. I'm going to throw one more name out there. All right. Kenia Stephanie Enriquez. All right. She's got the interim WBC title. How long can you have the interim, right? She's had the interim since what, 20 I think this was like 2022, all right? Her only loss was to the former champ. This was like in 2015 or something crazy. So she hasn't lost in any significant years. And she was in a vacant title bout and, happened to win win her belt. So long story short, man, there's so many names in the division. Bermudez is going to have to pick one, and that makes, as I started off by saying, that makes for some very intriguing fights at the light flyweight division. That said, there's not much other news out there or information that I think is rather newsworthy. Yes, we saw Sandy Ryan and Chantel Cameron go back and forth on a Sunday, no less, right? There's real tension there. If that fight ever happens, I think a lot of people are in the same position as me. It's hard to pick. It is hard to pick. That's a pick'em fight. It is hard to pick. It's hard to pick. But my heart belongs to Sandy Ryan. Shout out to Dave Ryan. I'm an honorary Ryan, I'd like to believe. I don't know how I got mixed up, but I'm an honorary Ryan. King, I mean Ryan, all right? Not Ryan Garcia, by the way. But yeah, man, lots of action this weekend. And speaking of the welterweight division, speaking of Sandy Ryan, the woman who owes her a rematch but might not make it is in action this weekend. Who could that be? Jessica ain't much of a Caskilla. McCaskill. Respectfully, let me talk about McCaskill's resume, though, because she came up the hard way. She has never faced an opponent that was under 500. So she's never faced an opponent with a losing record. Never. Some of her opponents at the time were equally undefeated as she was and things of that nature. So I happen to believe the quality of her opposition during her ascension, defeating Cecilia Brækhus twice, who was the long reigning champion, deserves a lot of credibility. I don't want to disparage her career. I don't want to say anything negative just to sound like a hater. But there was a point to when, again, she understandably lost to Chantel Cameron, who I just brought up, right? She understandably owes Sandy Ryan a rematch, and that's where kind of my issue is. There are fights out there. You got to plan. I can't make you fight. Same thing on the men's side. I can't make you fight somebody just because I want to see the fight. But I think the fights that I'm asking you guys for, and I'd have asked McCaskill for, I think it will do so much more for women's boxing. Even off the heels of a controversial win against Sandy Ryan, you do the rematch right away. You make people go back and watch the first fight and get invested for the second one. However, that isn't happening. Hopefully, this is a more lucrative venture for her because it sure is a roundabout. McCaskill will be defending her unified. I think she's IBO and what is McCaskill? She's IBO. I got notes. Don't worry about me. IBO and WBA champ. She'll be defending those titles against Lauren Price. Now, one thing about Lauren Price, funny thing about her record, she's 6-0, one stoppage. Her only stoppage is against the opponent that had a equal or 500 win-loss record. Other than that, some good names on her resume as well. So yeah, this is a ready fight for Lauren Price. I mean, as far as fighting a champion, so it's kind of what McCaskill did. You're fighting a champion, a long reigning champion, kind of on the back end of her career, and it's a great time for a young fighter to come in and take advantage of that. I like it because it also creates the opportunity for some real settling and unification within the welterweight division. We know Natasha Jonas is not interested in the Sandy Ryan fight for sure. Maybe she'll fight Lauren Price, but again, such an end around. I just don't think she want to get banged up, and respectfully so. Sandy Ryan is she goes to war when she could box, and I think a lot of fighters they're not ready to go to war. So I could see that happening. But this fight, it's going to be great for women's boxing, of course. Definitely enjoyable for the weekend overall. It's a championship fight. So what more could you ask for? Oh, I'm sorry. We got more championship fights. Bantamweight division. You've heard me beat the drum. I've got several episodes highlighting the bantamweight division. Well, one of the champions, not quite a star. I think she could do more. Again, fight the fights that we want to see you in, and you might become a star. Especially if you fight Sharetta Metcalf out in Dallas, Texas. talking about Nina Hughes, all right? Nina Hughes, and this is a good fight as well. She's defending her title against Cherneka Johnson. Cherneka Johnson is the former, I think she's moving down. I think she was a former champion at 122. I think she's moving down for this one. Sugar Neekz, very attractive lady, and gotta say that for sure. And again, I'm be wondering how these white girls get a name like Cherneka Johnson. Is that Aborigine blood, or is just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta ask these questions if anybody else asking. But yeah, the girl is fit. She's in shape. She's a pretty good fighter, former champion, as I stated. She actually lost her titles to Ellie Scottney at super bantam. All right, so yes, Sugar Neekz is moving down to bantamweight, and we'll see how she fares. All right. Um, this is on the Lomachenko and Kambosos undercard, so tune in for that. Now, I mentioned Ellie Scottney. I've mentioned the super bantamweight division. All right, but have you guys remember? Because I've been talking about this for a while. Have you guys remembered who the other champion is? Ellie Scottney just unified not too long ago. We got Yamileth Mercado. She fought last week, defending her single strap. Well, who's got the other one? You guys know? Do you know? Do you know? Erika CRUZ Hernandez. Yes, she's got the WBA title. She's in there against Nazarena Romero. And this is an interesting culmination of how this fight came to be. CRUZ won her title against Marilyn Rivas. All right. It was a majority decision. Rivas was the champion. Now, Rivas only got to the CRUZ fight by narrowly escaping a technical draw against Nazarena Romero. So now Romero couldn't get a hold of Marilyn Rivas, but now she's got to contend with Erika CRUZ Hernandez to try to get her strap. So she might have thought it was an easier contest against Rivas. Now she's got to fight the volume puncher who's been in there with Amanda Serrano. And's got some great experience that she brings to the table. As I mentioned before, very unique style to where she'll come in overhead, but she's definitely tucking her chin, and her jab is almost like a it's almost straight and overhand at the same, almost like a fencing jab, if you will. Which is but if she does that as well, she doesn't even bring up her guard until she's on to the second punch. So she's a combination puncher, and it doesn't look stylish, but it's certainly high volume, and it seems to be effective. She can wear out her opponents, and she's going to hope to wear out Romero, but Romero may, and I don't know much about Romero. I ain't going to fraud you. I'm going to go study some of her fights if I can find them. I don't know. I don't know what kind of fight this is going to be, but this is why you got to tune in. Now, this fight is going to be the main event. Matchroom DAZN, Saturday night. Tune in. All right. And I think I mentioned before McCaskill Price. That is on the undercard of a I think it's a boxer event. I'm not sure who is in the main, but you guys will find it. All right. Last but not least, we have some relatively local action coming from Niagara Falls. This is upstate New York. You have Makia Krebs. She's a prospect out of New York. I don't know much about her. I know she's got a win over India Smith. I do know quite a bit about her opponent, and as I mentioned to you guys, bantamweight division, Sharetta Metcalf, one of her biggest wins is over Melissa Odessa Parker. So the 6-2 Parker, again, 2 losses, one of those coming to Ms. Metcalf. She's in there to try to see whether or not Krebs is a legitimate prospect. All right. And I guess if these guys are meeting, because I know Odessa has been a title contender, if these guys are meeting, then that must mean Krebs is the goods, maybe approaching some sort of contender or title shot. We don't know, but this is why you got to tune in, find out. You got to do your homework to see who's who and what is what. What I do know, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a long enough day, long enough week. Wednesday is hump day. So either hump or get humped, right? But we must move on with the rest of the week. There's a pro box card tonight. There's no women's boxing featured on it, but the rest of the week, yeah, lots and lots going on. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, please drop a like, drop a comment. If not, thank you for the view. Go ahead and steal this information, pretend to pass it off it is you, and then people will be like, no, isn't there? Yeah, there is. It's me, the warden of women's boxing, King Amin of Essex. Thank you for joining me. Drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys next week.